I think that one's always on. It's always ahead.
Good evening. It is 5:30 according to Verizon, so we're going to call the Board of Health to order. Before we do that, I'd like to remind you to turn your cell phones to silent or vibrate, and then let's please all stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we do the pledge, then I remind that the polls are open until 9 o'clock. So if anybody, whether you're here in the gallery or at home, has not voted, you have plenty of time to get to the polls in your local precinct. So thank you. Chris, would you do the roll call, please?
Councilmember Dalby?
Here.
Councilmember Rowe?
Here.
Councilmember Stevens?
Here.
Councilmember Strebe?
Here.
Councilmember Berg?
Here.
Mayor Lazio?
Here.
Approve the minutes for meeting number 12 on August 7th, 2018 as presented. Recommendation, approve the minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Thank you.
This is the time, place, and date set to consider condemnation of the structures on the lot located at 1022 Plum.
Good evening, Kevin. You have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. The property placarded at 1022 Plum was placarded on November 30th, 2017 due to lack of utilities and dilapidation. The owner is unable to make the needed repairs in the house, and therefore staff recommends condemnation and eventual demolition. We do have one picture of the property.
This is a public hearing. If there's anyone that wants to address this item, now's the time to step to the microphone. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Condemn the structures located at 1022 Plum, order prompt demolition, removal, and leveling of the lot, and direct all costs attendant to such actions, including administrative cost, to be assessed against the property and/or collected from the owner or owners thereof. Recommendation, approve the condemnation of the structures located at 1022 Plum.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented. Second.
Thank you. Any questions for Kevin? Hearing none, take the roll.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Is there any other business for the Board of Health? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn the Board of Health.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
We will now move into the regular city council meeting, and we need to do the roll call again.
Councilmember Rowe?
Here.
Councilmember Stevens?
Here.
Councilmember Strebe?
Here.
Councilmember Berg?
Here.
Councilmember Dalby?
Here.
Mayor Lazio?
Here.
Items on the consent agenda. Minutes from special meeting number 32 on October 9th, 2018, and regular meeting number 33 on October 16th, 2018 is presented. Reappointment of Dave Cecil to the Parks Advisory Board, term to expire 11/1/2023. Appointment of Stacy Latham to the Historic Preservation Board, term to expire 1/1/2020. Appointment of Madonna Fisher to the Waterworks Board of Trustees, term to expire 7/22/2019 due to a vacancy. Appointment of Edward Lewis to the Ottumwa Housing Authority, term to expire 11/11/2020 due to a vacancy. Civil Service Commission eligibility list of October 19th, 2018 include police officer entrance, equipment operator entrance, utility worker, entrance, and automotive mechanic entrance. Approve the appointment of Aaron Short to the position of equipment operator, sewer maintenance department, effective October 29th, 2018. Approve the appointment of Buddy Harsh to the position of police officer in the police department, effective November 7th, 2018. Approve the purchase of a new dump box for sewer maintenance department truck number 41. Approve modifications to the contract with Computer Information Systems Incorporated for the in-house computer system for the police department. Approve payment to Computer Information Systems Inc. in the amount of $70,069.70 for an upgrade to the police department in-house computer system. Authorizing the mayor to sign lease with Ottumwa Radio Control Flyers Club for 2 acres more or less of land at the Ottumwa Regional Airport. Setting the date for a public hearing on the 2019-2020 capital improvement projects. Resolution number 259, 2018, setting the date for a public hearing on the intent to dispose of city-owned property located at 219 West Woodland. Resolution number 260, 2018, approving the contract bond and certificate of insurance for the 2018 upper story housing pilot project for the 300 block of East Main Street, and rescind resolution number 248, 2018. Resolution number 263, 2018, authorizing reimbursement of expenses in the amount of $25,000 incurred by the city for payment under Iowa Code Section 403.19. Resolution number 265, 2018, accepting the work as final and complete and approving the final pay request in the amount of $3,379.60 for the Bridgeview Center Power Distribution Improvements Project. Resolution number 267, 2018, award the contract for the 2018 RFP number 16, Eisenhower Bridge Repairs, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract. Beer and/or liquor applications for Mexico Lindo at 530 West 2nd Street, Richmond and Ferry BP at 720 Richmond, Benchwarmers Eatery and Sports Lounge at 2209 Romer with outdoor service area, Casey's General Store number 7 at 1001 East Main Street, Casey's General Store number 2208 at 1603 West 2nd Street, and Stop and Go drive-through in Delhi at 516 South Madison. All applications pending final inspections.
Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
Move the consent agenda as presented, Your Honor.
Second.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Item C on our agenda, we need a motion for tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
At this time, I'd like to call on City Administrator Andy Morris, and he has a comment to make.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. 2 items here that are not listed, but I want to bring these to your attention. The very first item is the sewer credit policy. You may recall that was a topic of discussion at our previous meeting. Councilman Dalby asked about that. There being that area between 20 to 15 units. That's an item that will be corrected by resolution. We'll clean that up and bring that back to the meeting on the 20th here in 2 weeks. If you have any questions or comments about that, let us know. But again, we'll be offering credits to those that fit within that criteria. As I said, I believe there's 5 individuals. The second one is it relates to the logo. As all of us well know, sitting up here, the various sundry stakeholder groups transition to the O logo with an exclamation point at the end of it. So I've been visiting with Larry Seals today, and this is a conversation that will continue. We're gathering costs associated with affixing decals on all the city vehicles, and then the next item we will do obviously would fall to letterhead, envelopes, and various other sundry items. But we're starting with the vehicles, and when Mr. Seals has those available, we'll run the cost and start implementing those as quickly as we can. That's all I have, Mayor, unless you or council members have any questions or comments.
Any questions for Andy? Okay. Item E, if there's anyone in the audience that wants to address an item on the agenda, now is the time to step up. Okay, go to resolutions then.
Resolution number 254, 2018, accepts a petition for the establishment of a downtown Ottumwa self-supported municipal improvement district and refers to it as the Ottumwa Planning and Zoning Commission for review. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 254, 2018.
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Are you going to take that, Andy?
Right. So Mayor, on this particular item, again, it's a resolution that accepts the petition, the establishment of the downtown, of the SMID, the downtown district. This is a petition then that would go to planning and zoning. It's my understanding that will go to them the day after tomorrow on the 8th. That will be in for them to make a decision on. This comes back to the council on the 20th. This is a procedural matter. I don't know if there's any questions or comments any of the council members have. Obviously, we have some of the representatives that worked on that board, but administratively, I just wanted to point that out. The petition has to start with us, goes to P&Z, comes back to us again in 2 weeks.
Okay. Any questions about that? Okay. Take the roll.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Resolution number 256, 2018, fixing an amount for abating a nuisance against certain properties in the city of Ottumwa, Iowa for the total amount of $13,501.64. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution 256, 2018.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Kevin, do you want to make some comments about those?
Thank you, Your Honor. Nuisance were abated in the city on approximately 6 properties in this resolution, but I'd be willing to take any questions about them. The total is $13,501.64.
Any questions for Kevin? Had those in your packet. Okay. Take the roll.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Resolution number 257, 2018, approving the final plat for Hurley's second addition to the city of Ottumwa, Wapello County, Iowa. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 257, 2018.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented. Second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Paul Douglas Tetchell is submitting the final plat for the proposed Hurley's second edition. Hurley's second edition would take the current property addressed at 2601 Romer and subdivide that property into 2 separate lots. As you could see from some of the materials we submitted, that the lot that will be exchanging hands is in the rear of the property and is accessed via an easement leading from what would be considered a public way, an older easement that runs along that frontage road on the property there adjacent to the 2 businesses. I'd take any questions that members may have.
Any questions for Kevin? Hearing none, take the roll.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Thank you, Kevin.
Resolution number 258, 2018, approving an environmental covenant between the Iowa Department of Natural Resources and the city of Ottumwa for property owned by the city adjacent to its Public Works Department Building number 2 in Ottumwa. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 258, 2018.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Give that to Mark. Okay, Bob, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is for property located at the 1010 Gateway Drive, Public Works Garage. We've had in the past underground storage tanks down there, and Barker Lamar has been monitoring them for years. And so this agreement has been developed between them and the Department of Natural Resources to prohibit us from providing any confined spaces for that area because of the flumes that are in the ground there would prohibit that.
Any questions for Bob? Okay, seeing none, take the roll.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Resolution number 261, 2018, approving the final plat of Christner's first subdivision to the city of Ottumwa, Wapello County, Iowa. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 261, 2018.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented, Your Honor.
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Kevin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Christner Properties LLC is submitting a final plat for Christner First Subdivision. Christner First Subdivision would take the current property addressed at 2935 Oak Meadow and subdivide the property into 3 separate lots. I'd like to take any questions that members may have.
Any questions for Kevin? Okay, take the roll.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Thank you.
Kevin?
Resolution number 262, 2018, extending an agreement for 5 years between the City of Ottumwa, Iowa and Greg Wilson, PGA, doing business as Integrity Golf Group, LLC, for the operation of the Cedar Creek Golf Course. Recommendation: pass and adopt resolution number 262, 2018.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
And Joni's going to take that. Joni, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll get started on this, and then I'll pass the baton to Andy and then possibly Larry Seals. On November 25th, 2008, the city approved a 10-year operating agreement with Greg Wilson, Integrity Golf Group, for the city's Cedar Creek Golf Course. The agreement was further amended on December 15th, 2008, regarding a city golf committee. The agreement provided for 2 5-year extensions upon the agreement of both parties. Staff has worked with Greg Wilson in developing the proposed 5-year extension agreement, particularly as it relates to capital improvements done at the golf course. All terms in the original agreement remain the same, with the amendments set out in the attached proposed agreement. Definitions were provided, and a list of suggested proposed projects were attached as Exhibit A of the extended agreement. In addition, the revised agreement defined the city's equipment that still exists at the golf course and is specifically insured on the city's insurance policy. Furthermore, Mr. Wilson and Public Works Director Larry Seals will be meeting in the next several months to further define and clarify those capital improvements that were previously completed at the golf course. And those will be memorialized in a letter of understanding that I'm hoping will come back to council in the next several months. And that'll assist staff in the future at the final conclusion of the operating agreement. In 5 years, the agreement could also be extended in an additional 5 years upon the consent of both parties. The extension agreement originally drafted must be read in conjunction with the original operating agreements. And we're recommending the mayor be authorized to sign the agreement. And then I'll turn it over to Andy to answer any additional questions and comments.
Very good. Thank you, Joni. I think it's important to note, first of all, Larry Seals did a tremendous Herculean task, quite frankly, in helping us put this document together, particularly as it's specific to the capital improvements. And again, just to reiterate what Ms. Keith mentioned in section 607 and 608, both those 607 and 608, both of those set forth and, as she said, memorialized the capital improvements. If you'll note, the Exhibit A lists those areas that would be capitalized as it relates to the 50 cents per round in the rounds of golf. So there's an incentivization anyway for Mr. Wilson to create more activity out there, create more revenue, and then by extension, then there's a relationship between that and also the capital improvements that are made with money. The second item you will note, which on the back side of that speaks more specifically to vehicles. And Mr. Mayor, if it's all right with you, I'd ask you to call Larry Seals to the podium right now, and he can speak to this or other items specific to this contract.
Good evening, Larry. You can give us some enlightenment on those vehicles?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, what we did, we went back to the original contract and listed all the equipment that was included in the original agreement. We wanted to kind of keep a running list of what's been transferred, sold, or their condition. Some of them's used more than others. We wanted to show which ones went to auction. That way that anybody picking this up in the future will have an easier time tracking what has occurred over time. Same way with the capital items, we wanted to be able to combine and list what is real capital items and what is operational. We'd come up with a total list of expenditures for 10 years, and then Greg and I are going to go over and what is operational. For instance, a microwave or a TV is an operational item, not a capital item. We did agree with working with Bob J., the finance director, that we would combine things like multiple tile jobs into one. Basically, since he does a lot of that in-house force account with his own equipment, we do see a lower cost than contract items, but it does have a definite service life that's assigned to it. And we can quantify by length and cost what would be reimbursed the way the original contract was set up at the end. What we wanted to do was tie it down into some document that we could hand the next person and they could make sense of it.
I know this has been an item that's had a lot of discussion and staff comments. Any questions for Larry?
Mr. Mayor, just one point of clarification. I want to get ahead of council on this one, but Larry, recall the public improvements that you just mentioned. If you could put in context again, I know staff has talked about this at some length, but that is those items that could be compiled together that would constitute being a candidate for a CIP project, and those, and then also define those again that would not be.
Okay, well, the thing that we had noticed that he'd had probably at least 6 or 7 different tile installation jobs. They were all smaller and would fall under the normal city capital program for the finance tracking that was set at 5,000. But if you look at all those items, they're the same item, not done on the same day, but they could be combined and become a $5,000 item. That's what we were looking at. Of course, you're not going to capitalize again a couple items that, of course, was a business expense, but not a capital item. The perfect ones are a TV or a microwave or something like that.
Right. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Are we clear as a council? And I know there's been a lot of discussion in the community about the golf course, so we want to be sure that everybody has had a chance to give their input, and staff has spent considerable time on this to get this corrected and laid out, so it's good for the future. Okay, there's no questions, take the roll.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Resolution number 266, 2018, approving change order number 1 and accepting the work as finally complete and approving the final pay request for the 2018 Beach Phase 3 RFP number 5X landscaping project. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 266, 2018.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented. Second.
Thank you. Good evening, Gene, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. This project consisted of preparation and application of native vegetation around the beach facility and along the lagoon's edge. Change order number 1 increases the contract amount by $500 for removal of concrete steps and rubble in the project area. The contractor has completed the above referenced work according to the request for proposals. This will authorize payment and release all retainages. The original contract amount was $12,771. By adding $500 to that, the new contract is $13,271, less previous payments of $12,607.45. The final amount due is $663.55.
Any questions for Gene? Okay, hearing none, take the roll.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Thank you, Gene.
Resolution number 268, 2018, approving change order number 1 and change order number 2 for the Richmond Ferry Roundabout Project. Recommendation, pass and adopt resolution number 268, 2018.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Larry, you have the floor.
Change order 1 is for the normal change order work items. Change order 2 is for the rework cost. The engineers are going to reimburse the city for. 2 small errors by the consultant engineer ballooned into a significant rework. They took full responsibility and agreed to reimburse the city for $26,898.80 for the associated work. Some of the paving and sidewalk work was rolled into the project from the Albia Road roundabout to maximize and utilization of the grant. The final change order and pay request will be submitted once this work is completed. I'm not sure if that'll be later this fall or first thing in the spring.
Any questions for Larry? Okay, hearing none, take the roll.
Councilmember Rowe?
No.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
No.
Motion passes 3-2. Okay.
Resolution number 269, 2018, approving change order number 1 and accepting the work as final and complete for the Osage and Oak Meadow Drive intersection project. Recommendation pass and adopt resolution number 269, 2018.
Is there a motion?
Move the recommendation as presented.
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Larry.
This project reconstructed 450 square yards of 8-inch PCC pavement at the intersection of Osage Drive and Oak Meadow Avenue. New pavement on Osage Drive was continued around the corner to the north end of Oak Meadow. The work included new pavement, subdrains, subgrade preparation, geogrid, and subbase. The project was awarded on April 3rd, 2018, City Council meeting in the amount of $45,695 to DC Concrete and Construction of Dowds, Iowa, and they've completed the above reference work according to the plans and specifications. This will approve change order 1 and authorize payment and release of all retainage. Change order 1 increases the contract sum by $3,275.89 to adjust for contract quantities to match as-built quantities. Most of the change order was for core out of a 6-inch of unsuitable subbase and replaced with rock. The new contract amount is $48,970.89.
Any questions for Larry? Hearing none, take the roll.
Councilmember Rowe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Strebe?
Yes.
Councilmember Berg?
Yes.
Councilmember Dalby?
Yes.
Item J on our agenda, if there's anyone in the audience that wants to address an item not on the council agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on. Item K, are there any comments from council about any item that you want to bring to the city's attention? Well, a couple of things if council would like to hear about. I think we should mention that we had a great meeting with Ryan and company to talk about the proposed hotel at the Bridgeview site. That's just in the very formative stages, but they were very receptive to some of the concerns from our team of people, both city and non-city staff who were part of that. We also had a great GoPIP, Greater Ottumwa Partners in Progress banquet, and our new CEO for the Legacy Foundation, Steve Duss, gave a opening presentation, and I think hit the major items that we're struggling with in our community: workforce, technology, and education. So it's going to be good to work with Steve as we move forward on some of these projects. Andy, you might want to make some comments. I know there was a succession planning session with Cassandra Halls, and I think that went very well from what I've heard.
That's correct, Mayor. We're in the early stages of that process. Cassandra Halls appeared at our last staff meetings. That would have been a week ago yesterday, and set forth a couple of different items. One related to career pathways for existing employees. In addition to that, what aspirational plans some of the employees may have. We filled out surveys and sent those in as related to the 3 top positions. I believe council has to grade that as well in terms of your questions and concerns about that. I will find out from her further what additional reports she wants filed, but the ones that she's asked so far, we've filled those out and turned those into her. And at the end, there will be a final report and narrative, which we will obviously share with council.
We also, I represented the city along with city engineer Dwight Dolman. We had a Future Ready Iowa Summit here at Indian Hills, and Dwight's been on the STEM Advisory Committee board and represents us very well, but I think it was a good seminar for looking ahead in terms of how we can be ready for business and industry and training our young people for appropriate kinds of technology jobs and increasing their education attainment. So Dwight, I would give you the opportunity, if you want to make any comments, this would be a good time to do it. I know that I didn't give you any forewarning, so I don't mean to put you on the spot. It's, again, I think the fact that we have a city engineer on that committee is good, and we need to keep in touch with Indian Hills taking a lead on that. And as you know, that's a statewide initiative that's going around as we talk. The other thing I would like to mention, Saturday is going to be Bacon Town Fest over at Bridgeview. That's, our meat packer, JBS, is supplying, I think, 1,500 pounds of bacon. And our local vendors are going to be cooking it up in lots of different ways. And KIIC out of Albia is going to be kind of emceeing the day, but it's a great day for our community, and hope that many of you in the audience can get there and enjoy that afternoon or that day. I think it's 10 to 7 or something, I forget. And then lastly, I want to compliment Bob, Jay, and Christy McDowell for their work on the comparison information they shared with council this past week on the levies and the valuation of property, because, we're getting pressed with our taxes and levy rates being high. And I think, Bob, that sheet where you compared us to our sister cities and also two of our smaller cities around us is really a good document. And I would encourage anybody that has questions about it to come and visit with Bob or Christy. It's well put together, and I think it does point out a few things, one of them being that our personnel costs are higher than some of our sister cities, and we're going to have to take a look at that in the future. It's just something we can't ignore. We're twice as high as some of our comparable cities, Burlington, Clinton, Fort Dodge, Mason City, Marshalltown, and Muscatine. So again, good work on that, and I think it was really helpful the way you put it together, so good work. Any other comments, questions, suggestions? If not, I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved. Second.
Councilmember Rote will say, we're going to recess.
Yeah.
We're going to recess, not adjourn.
Oh, thank you. That's right. We'll recess and go down to room 108 for a closed session.